Okay, so now we're going to look at the next part of our agenda. So we've just heard from Chris and CJ around Cosmos and kind of the power that Cosmos brings you with regards to that divide between EDI and API and the obviously the gap that Cosmos allows you to bridge that gap. Yeah, it's going to allow your teams to provide better clarity and observability when they're looking to make confident decisions at speed, so that there's fewer dependencies, fewer surprises, and far more insight. So we're going to have a look at a demo now from Cosmos. We've got three of my colleagues, three of our amazing colleagues from our support and consultancy team, then Joe, Chris, and CJ. So hello, guys.
Hey,
Hello.
Hi.
Um, So we're going to have a look at four different areas of Cosmos. Obviously, there's lots of functionality that we've already spoken about, but we're going to look at the message validator, the BPMN editor, and the BP navigation and some parts of Neural Hub. I believe we're going to start with Chris and the BPMN editor. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah. Let me just share my screen quickly.
Perfect.
Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in Cosmos, business processes are built using a graphical interface that is event-driven. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to quickly walk through a purchase order creation workflow. We'll step through each of the events, and then once we've done that, we'll make a small change, just to demonstrate how quick and easy it is to actually apply changes to the workflows using the interface. So in this example, the first event is the PO request is received. All the information in that purchase order request is captured. So line items, quantities, who's actually requested the order. Once that information has been gathered, it's all validated. That could be, the person or company that's requested the order. Do they exist on this customer's systems? Do they have an account? So once that information has been validated, we then move on to checking in with the supplier and their pricing to determine what's the total order value going to be for this order. Once that information has been gathered, we then go through the event of physically creating the purchase order. Once that's done, that order is then sent to the supplier for fulfillment. So the order is physically sent to the supplier. And then we move on to the next step where the supplier has to then acknowledge it. So we need acknowledgement that the supplier is going to be able to fulfill that order. Once that acknowledgement comes through, that then links to the end event and concludes the simple PO creation process. You will notice there's two lanes. We call them lanes in the graphical modeler. So the top lane, the purple lane, is the customer who's actually received the order, has validated it, and will eventually ship it to the user. And then we have an external lane, which is the supplier who's going to be filling the order from the warehouse. So that's why this event is in a separate lane to this, because they're two separate entities.
Yeah.
So that's a simple workflow. But let's say, for example, there's an SLA in place between this customer and their supplier, and the customer has the ability to dictate the delivery date. We've got no visibility of that in here at the moment, but what we can do, we can make a simple change and add an additional node to the purchase order creation event. We click on that event, and then we're going to add an additional output node, and we'll just call that delivery date. Okay. You'll see that's populated here as a separate node. We're going to want to link that to this next event that's going to send the PO to the supplier. We don't need to link it here because it's just this is a physical action of just sending the PO to the supplier. So the delivery date's been determined, the purchase order's been created, so we don't need to send both of these nodes to the acknowledgement event. But we do want the supplier to specifically acknowledge that delivery date to say that they can actually achieve it. So we'll click on this event. We'll create another output node, same one as before, delivery date. and then we will link that to the end event. What we're doing now, we're saying to the supplier, look, we need this PO, but it needs to be delivered on this date. So we want them to physically confirm that they can not only fulfill the order, but fulfill it on this date. So that's how simple it is to add more context to your workflow, more information, and more requirements. And that's the end of the simple PO creation workflow.
Nice, perfect. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate that. CJ, any additional commentary there?
Yeah. There was two things that jumped out. People and customers will have existing business processes in their own tools, and a lot of BPMN used to be written. I could hand crank this out as an XML file, and we actually allow you to import with the XML, and it will automatically build up these diagrams for you so that you can then use it graphically. And Chris, rather on purpose, left a connection break in his flow, and it's a great way to be able to demonstrate that you can visually see if you've got a problem inside your BPMN and how quick it is to resolve. So it was just a little more to the right. You had it, Chris. One of your white connections was missing, which means that the customer wouldn't be able to effectively move from the check supplier pricing to create purchase order. So it's currently broken. And the customer can look at this and instantly go, I've got a problem here. I need to fix that. And just by connecting those two and wiring it, that's it, job done. You don't even need to write the code. So we make it super easy for the customer to work with what they've got.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's BPMN. Excuse me. That's BPMN Editor from Cosmos. Now we're going to take a look at some other parts. So to do that, I'm just going to stop the recording and let Chris Deary drop off and go and support some of our customers, and then we can carry on in a second. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
you.
Bye.
Well done, Chris.
Bye.